You wake up, walk into the kitchen, and without thinking, you do something that feels completely normal. Something you've done for years, decades even. It feels harmless, routine, comforting. But what if I told you that one simple morning habit could be quietly feeding cancer cells in your body, especially after the age of 50, not causing it overnight, not making you feel sick immediately, but slowly, silently, creating the exact environment where abnormal cells thrive, grow, and spread. And the most dangerous part? Most people who do this every morning believe they are actually doing something healthy. I'm going to walk you through 6 morning habits that research has linked to increased cancer risk. Habits that become significantly more dangerous as your body ages, your metabolism slows, and your cells lose their ability to repair damage efficiently. As someone who has studied long-term disease patterns in adults over 50, I've seen this pattern again and again. Patients who thought they were doing everything right, only to discover years later that small daily habits were quietly working against them. But here's the good news. Once you understand these habits, you can correct them, starting tomorrow morning. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly which habit is the most dangerous, the one doctors are now calling a silent accelerator for cancer growth. Before we begin, I want you to do something simple. Tell me your age in the comments. If you're over 50, just type 50 plus. If you're over 60, write 60 plus. Because what I'm about to share becomes far more critical with every passing decade. Now let's start with number 6. Most people won't expect this one. You wake up, and the first thing you do is reach for something sweet. Maybe it's a cup of sugary tea. Maybe biscuits. Maybe a packaged cereal that claims to be heart healthy. It feels light, easy, quick. But inside your body, something very different is happening. When you consume sugar first thing in the morning, especially on an empty stomach, you create a rapid spike in blood glucose. Your body responds with a surge of insulin, trying to control that spike. Here's the problem. Cancer cells feed on glucose. In fact, one of the defining characteristics of cancer cells is their increased glucose uptake. They consume sugar at a much higher rate than normal cells. This is known in medical science as the Warburg effect. Studies have shown that individuals with consistently elevated blood sugar levels have up to a 30% higher risk of developing certain types of cancer, including colorectal and pancreatic cancers. Now imagine repeating that spike every single morning. Let me tell you about Farouk. He was 58, active, never smoked, walked daily. He thought his breakfast was light and healthy, a bowl of sweet cereal and tea. For years, his sugar levels stayed slightly elevated. Not diabetic, just borderline, until one day, fatigue set in, then unexplained weight loss. He was later diagnosed with colon cancer. Was sugar the only cause? No, but his daily habit created the exact internal environment where abnormal cells could thrive unchecked. After 50, your insulin sensitivity decreases. Your body cannot handle sugar spikes the way it did at 30 or even 40. So what can you do instead? Start your morning with protein and fiber. Eggs, nuts, seeds, plain yogurt. These stabilize blood sugar and prevent that dangerous insulin surge. And here's a powerful synergy tip most people miss. If you combine a high-protein breakfast with even a 10-minute walk after eating, you can reduce your blood sugar spike by up to 20%. Small change, massive impact. Now let's move to number 5. This one is even more dangerous because people think it's a sign of discipline. You wake up and you skip breakfast entirely. Maybe you're trying to lose weight. Maybe you're not hungry. Maybe you've heard about fasting. And yes, intermittent fasting can have benefits, but here's where it becomes risky after 50. When you skip breakfast, your body remains in a prolonged fasting state. That sounds good in theory, but in older adults, it can lead to increased cortisol levels. Cortisol is your stress hormone. When cortisol stays elevated for too long, it suppresses immune function, especially the activity of natural killer cells, the very cells responsible for detecting and destroying early cancer cells. In simpler terms, your body becomes less effective at catching and eliminating dangerous cells before they grow. A study published in the Journal of Aging and Health found that adults over 50 who frequently skipped breakfast had higher markers of systemic inflammation and reduced immune surveillance. And inflammation is one of the key drivers of cancer development. Let me tell you about Samina. She was 62. She started skipping breakfast to stay light and control her weight. At first, she felt fine, even proud of her discipline. But over time, she began feeling weak, stressed, and more prone to infections. Her body was under constant low-level stress. Years later, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Again, this wasn't caused by one habit alone, but her daily routine weakened her body's natural defense system. After 50, your body needs consistent nourishment to maintain cellular repair and immune strength. Skipping meals may actually do more harm than good. So what's the smarter approach? Instead of skipping breakfast completely, opt for a light but balanced meal. Even something small, like a handful of nuts with fruit or a boiled egg, can stabilize cortisol levels and support your immune system. And here's the synergy tip that can make this even more powerful. Combine your morning meal with sunlight exposure. Just 5 to 10 minutes of natural sunlight helps regulate your circadian rhythm and supports vitamin D production, both of which play a role in cancer prevention. Your body isn't designed to stay in stress mode all morning. It's designed to repair, defend, and regenerate. And what you do in the first hour after waking up determines which direction your body moves in. We've only covered 2 habits so far, but what's coming next is far more serious. Because the next habit doesn't just feed cancer cells, it helps them spread. And almost everyone does it without realizing the damage. Let's continue. Now let's move to number 4. This one is subtle, quiet, almost invisible. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the ground, your hand reaches for your phone. Messages, news, social media, notifications. It feels harmless, even normal. But what you're actually doing in those first few minutes is triggering a stress response that can ripple through your entire body for the rest of the day. The moment your brain processes information, especially negative or overwhelming content, it activates your sympathetic nervous system. Your body releases cortisol and adrenaline. Now here's where it becomes dangerous after 50. Your body's ability to regulate stress hormones declines with age. Cortisol stays elevated longer, and chronic elevation of cortisol is directly linked to immune suppression, increased inflammation, and impaired cellular repair. In other words, your body becomes less capable of detecting and destroying abnormal cells. A study from the National Cancer Institute found that prolonged psychological stress can reduce immune surveillance by up to 40%, allowing mutated cells more opportunity to grow unchecked. And when this happens every morning, before your body has even stabilized, you are starting your day in a state that favors disease instead of defense. Let me tell you about Rashid. He was 64, retired. His mornings started the same way every day, scrolling through news updates in bed. Political tension, economic worries, negative headlines. Within minutes, his heart rate would rise. His mind would race. He thought it was just staying informed. But over time, his sleep worsened. His blood pressure increased. He felt constantly tense. Years later, he developed prostate cancer. Again, this wasn't caused by one habit alone, but his daily stress pattern created an internal environment where inflammation thrived and immune defenses weakened. After 50, your nervous system needs a gentle start, not an immediate surge of stress. So what can you do instead? Delay phone use for at least 20 to 30 minutes after waking. Use that time to hydrate, stretch, or simply sit in silence. Even a few minutes of slow breathing can significantly lower cortisol levels and activate your parasympathetic system, the state where healing and repair occur. And here's a powerful synergy tip. If you combine screen-free mornings with 5 minutes of deep breathing, inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 6, you can lower your baseline stress response throughout the entire day. That means your body spends more time in protection mode and less time in damage mode. Now let's move to number 3. This one is extremely common, especially in people who believe they are making a healthy choice. You wake up, and instead of water, you go straight for tea or coffee. No hydration, no pause, just caffeine. It wakes you up, feels energizing, but inside your body, something critical is being neglected. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is naturally dehydrated. Your cells need water to function properly, to flush toxins, support metabolism, and maintain healthy cellular communication. When you skip water and go straight to caffeine, you not only delay hydration, you also increase fluid loss because caffeine has mild diuretic effects. Now here's where it connects to cancer risk. Chronic low-level dehydration has been linked to reduced lymphatic function. Your lymphatic system is responsible for removing waste, toxins, and abnormal cells from your body. If this system slows down, harmful substances can accumulate. A report in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition highlighted that inadequate hydration can impair detoxification pathways and increase oxidative stress, both of which are associated with cancer development. Let me tell you about Nazreen. She was 55. Every morning, the first thing she did was drink strong tea. No water, just tea. Over time, she began experiencing fatigue, dry skin, and frequent headaches. Her body was constantly operating in a dehydrated state. Years later, she was diagnosed with kidney complications, and eventually, cancer was discovered. Again, this wasn't about one cup of tea. It was about a long-term pattern that reduced her body's ability to cleanse and repair itself. After 50, your body becomes less efficient at detoxification. Your kidneys, liver, and lymphatic system need more support, not less. So what's the fix? Start your morning with at least 1 glass of water. Before tea, before coffee, before anything else. And if possible, add a squeeze of lemon. This helps stimulate digestion and supports liver function. Now here's the synergy tip that most people overlook. If you drink water and follow it with light movement, like stretching or a short walk, you activate lymphatic flow, helping your body clear out waste more effectively. Hydration isn't just about thirst. It's about cellular survival. Now, before we move to the next one, I want to pause for a moment. If you've made it this far, it means you care about your health, and that matters more than you think. Because most people ignore these warning signs until it's too late. So if you're finding this helpful, take a second to like this video. And more importantly, subscribe. Because the information you'll find here isn't just about adding years to your life. It's about protecting the years you still have. And if you know someone over 50, a parent, a friend, a spouse, share this with them. It could change the way they start their mornings and possibly the direction of their health. Now let's continue. Number 2. This one is more serious than everything we've discussed so far, because it doesn't just weaken your body. It actively creates conditions where cancer cells can spread faster. You wake up, but you don't move. No stretching, no walking, no physical activation. You go straight from bed to chair to sitting again. And this prolonged inactivity in the morning has a powerful biological effect. When your body remains sedentary, blood circulation slows down. Oxygen delivery to tissues decreases. And one of the most dangerous effects, your lymphatic system becomes sluggish. Unlike your heart, which pumps blood automatically, your lymphatic system depends on movement. Without movement, toxins, waste products, and abnormal cells are not efficiently cleared from your body. A study published in Cancer Epidemiology found that prolonged sedentary behavior is associated with up to a 24% increased risk of certain cancers, including colon and lung cancer. Now combine that with aging. After 50, circulation naturally declines. Muscle mass decreases, and your body becomes more prone to stagnation. Let me tell you about Iqbal. He was 67, retired. Most of his mornings were spent sitting, watching TV, reading, or just resting. He believed he had earned the right to relax. But over time, his energy dropped. His mobility decreased. His body became slower in every sense. Years later, he was diagnosed with lung cancer, despite never having smoked. Again, this wasn't caused by one habit alone, but his lack of movement contributed to a system that was no longer effectively clearing harmful cells. After 50, movement is not optional. It's essential. So what can you do? Start your morning with just 5 to 10 minutes of movement. It doesn't have to be intense. Simple stretching, gentle walking, even moving your arms and legs. The goal is to activate circulation and stimulate lymphatic flow. And here's the synergy tip that can multiply the benefit. Combine movement with deep breathing. When you move and breathe deeply at the same time, you increase oxygen delivery and enhance your body's ability to remove toxins. This creates an internal environment that is far less favorable for cancer growth. We've now reached the final and most important habit. And what I'm about to share next is the one doctors are most concerned about today, because it's not just common. It's deeply ingrained in daily life. And it may be the strongest silent driver of cancer risk after 50. Let's go deeper. Now we come to number 1. This is the habit that concerns doctors the most today, not because it's dramatic, not because it causes immediate symptoms, but because it works slowly, silently, and almost everyone over 50 is doing it without realizing the damage. You wake up in the morning and you expose your body to artificial light instead of natural light. You stay indoors, curtains closed, lights on, screens glowing. Your body never truly sees the morning. And that one mistake disrupts one of the most powerful anti-cancer systems built into your biology, your circadian rhythm. This internal clock controls everything: your hormones, your immune system, your metabolism, even how your cells repair DNA damage. And at the center of this system is a hormone called melatonin. Most people think melatonin is just for sleep. It's not. Melatonin is one of the most powerful natural anti-cancer agents your body produces. It helps regulate cell growth. It reduces oxidative stress. It even helps trigger the death of abnormal cells before they can multiply. But here's the problem. Melatonin production is directly influenced by your exposure to light, especially in the morning. When your eyes receive natural sunlight early in the day, it sets a precise rhythm for melatonin release later at night. But when that morning signal is missing, your entire hormonal system becomes misaligned. Melatonin drops. Cortisol becomes irregular. Cellular repair weakens. And over time, your body loses one of its strongest defenses against cancer. A large-scale study published in the International Journal of Cancer found that disrupted circadian rhythms were associated with significantly higher risks of breast, prostate, and colorectal cancers. In fact, shift workers, people whose light exposure is misaligned, show up to a 35% increased cancer risk. Now think about this. If you wake up every morning and stay in artificial light, you are creating a similar disruption day after day, year after year. Let me tell you about Khalida. She was 61. She lived in an apartment with limited sunlight. Her mornings were always indoors, dim lighting, television on, curtains closed. She rarely stepped outside early in the day. Over time, her sleep became irregular. She felt tired during the day, but restless at night. Her body had lost its rhythm. Years later, she was diagnosed with breast cancer. Again, this wasn't caused by one single factor, but her lifestyle removed one of her body's natural protective systems. After 50, your circadian rhythm becomes more fragile. Your body needs stronger signals to stay aligned. And without those signals, repair processes weaken, inflammation increases, and abnormal cells gain an advantage. So what's the solution? Expose your eyes to natural sunlight within the first 30 minutes of waking. Even 5 to 15 minutes can make a difference. You don't need to stare at the sun. Just step outside. Let natural light reach your eyes. Open your curtains wide. Sit near a window if going outside isn't possible. This simple act sends a powerful message to your brain. It's morning. Start the repair cycle. Prepare for restoration later. And here's the synergy tip that can amplify this effect dramatically. Combine sunlight exposure with light movement, like walking. When you walk in natural light, you synchronize multiple systems at once: your hormones, your metabolism, your circulation. This creates an internal environment that is far less favorable for cancer development. Now I want you to think about something. None of these habits felt dangerous. Not sugar in the morning, not skipping breakfast, not checking your phone, not drinking tea first, not sitting too long, not staying indoors. Each one felt normal, routine, even harmless. But when these habits repeat day after day, year after year, they don't just stay small. They accumulate. They shape your internal environment. And cancer doesn't appear overnight. It grows in environments that allow it to grow. Quietly, patiently, invisibly. But here's what most people never realize. The same way small habits can create disease, small habits can also prevent it. Starting tomorrow morning, you have a choice. You can wake up and repeat the same routine. Or you can take control. Drink water first. Eat in a way that stabilizes your body. Avoid unnecessary stress. Move your body. Step into natural light. These are not extreme changes, but they are powerful ones. And when combined, they create a body that is stronger, more resilient, and far less vulnerable. I've seen people in their 50s, 60s, even 70s completely transform their health, not through medication alone, but through consistent daily habits. Your body is not fragile. It is responsive. It adapts to what you give it. So the question is, what are you giving it every morning? Because the first hour of your day is not just a routine, it's a signal that tells your body whether to repair or to decline. And the choice is yours. If this opened your eyes, take a moment right now. Subscribe to the channel, because the information you'll find here is designed for one purpose: to help you protect your health before it's too late. Like this video so more people can see it, and share it with someone you care about, especially if they're over 50. Because sometimes one small change, one morning decision, can change the direction of an entire life.